Hey you guys, I'm here to give you my pretty much Marco Polo Season 2, Episode 1 review. This is pretty much going to be part 1 because there's a lot of things that happened in this episode, so I just want to make sure I give, each part of the storyline its well deserved, reflection, all that shit. So, yeah, here we go. So, pretty much this episode begins with a young Kublai and a young Kaido with their great legendary grandfather, you know, Genghis Khan. So an interesting thing is that you see Genghis Khan saying that the tributes have come. So it's like birds pretty much. And Kublai's like, the great Genghis Khan gets wants a tribute of birds, and Genghis Khan's like, you dare question your grandfather, Kublai? Kublai's like, no, I don't question you, bro. I don't question you. I just wanted to know. So while they're talking, you see a young, probably 4-year-old Kaido just looking curious, looking to the cage and all that stuff. So Genghis Khan like playfully just grabs him, and sets him like right in front of the city, and he says that for him to follow, the laws and the blue sky and all that stuff, just like he has, and as his father has, because he's going to be the future Khan. Ain't that ironic? How shit happens. So yeah, Kublai is paying, some real, paying a lot of attention to what's being said and all that. So Genghis Khan pretty much lights them motherfucker birds up, and he says, some of the lives of that well-fed dogs and birds always returns back to their master. So he let them motherfucker birds go, and they just fucking set the fucking whatever like city on fire. And Kublai's like, what the fuck? Kaido and Genghis, they're just like what indifferent to it. But Kublai's like, what shit? And then the next scene, we have Marco fucked up, probably at a brothel. And you have this dude, one of those slimy characters, he's just like, I'm amazed that you can drink the white poison so well, round eye. But he's saying, there's no way that you can drink as much as Skinny Craig. And Marco's like, I wonder, like, what did he say specifically? He said, the greatest mystery in the East is how a fat bastard like you got the name Skinny Craig. And just off that, I'm saying, what, you could just tell from that, and deeper along the episode, that they improved dramatically in terms of dialogue for the characters, because that was probably the major thing that was talked about, weakness of the show, is that it seemed like the dialogue seemed forced, it wasn't good enough, but I can just, it was a good sign. So yeah, and Skinny Craig pretty much says he feels though Mark was just a round devil, round-eyed devil, pretty much a piece of shit, and he doesn't even know why the Khan, even deals him and whatever. So Marco pretty much takes out the golden tablet, and the guy pretty much spits on the golden tablet and all that shit. So Marco clocks the motherfucker with the tablet, and he pretty much takes the money that he earned, and he pretty much gives one of the dollars to the hooker. That was fucked up, So maybe it was the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol. So yeah, the next scene we have Maylin pretty much trying to speak to, I believe, Southern rebels, which is pretty much ever the fact that Jessedow's, rebellion against the Mongols actually did, in a way, made him a legend, like he mentioned what you want to be, what you mentioned to mainly, I believe, in season 1, episode 2, I believe, probably 3. So yeah, Marco comes in with his Mongol gang, whatever. They make it seem as though they, I think they beat the shit out of those dudes, and they take Maylin. So we get on the boat, Marco's all mad with that little scowl on his face, and he's all like, did they tell you? And she's like, we're close. So they're working together, obviously. So yeah, nothing that happened this episode. Apparently Jingham's wedding's happening, and Jingham's playing Capture the Bride, with him and Koka-chan pretty much, Coach is trying to keep on that horse, whatever, and Jingham's trying to get her. And Jingham is saying to her, after he captures her, she keeps on hitting the motherfucker. He's like, hey, chill. It's a part of the marriage ceremony. You know what I mean? She's like, you wouldn't respect me if I made it easy for you. And he's like, damn, if you're like this, my God. You know what I mean? He said, you're probably going to be worse than my mother. So after that, we have a scene of Kublai pretty much with Ahmed. and they're going through so many fucking, like, meetings and all that stuff. One of the meetings, Kublai meets with the governor of, I believe, South China, North. All right, pretty much. I'll correct this in my part 2 review of this. Yeah, so he pretty much the governor, and he says that that Kublai has united North and South China. There's no longer any beefs, whatever. But he did mention a few problems. He was saying that they enjoy the paper currency, but it seems as though 50 of Kublai's is worth the same amount as one Chinese note. One Chinese note, and that there's a problem with the trade taxes, especially when it comes to silver, the trade routes, and all that stuff. So Kublai's saying, am I not the one who saved you from the cricket minister, Jessadao? When you guys, pretty much your crops were destroyed by the locusts, did I not send you grain? And the guy's like, yeah. He was like, yeah. He said, well, I did what, I'm a good guy. You know what I mean? Just go back and tell them, well, pretty much that, don't fret. I'm there for you. Drink, be merry, and enjoy my son's wedding, and thanks for coming, pretty much. So after that, even have Kublai, when he got off his throne, he's like, damn. Even Kublai's like, 50 to 1, And even Ahmed's like, listen, we have to do this in order for you to gain your goal of trying to capture, the East and the West and all that shit. Go further expanding, expansion. So Kublai's like, oh, God, do we have any more? And Ahmed's like, yeah. He's like, damn, I already missed Capture the Bride. I want to see, like, the Arrow show or whatever. He's all, and, I guess, heavy is the head that bears the crown, so much responsibility. So, yeah. After that, you have Marco and Maylene have this really interesting conversation. Marco's fucked up, and she's like, I think Marco says bad wine, and she's like, in every province, he's like, yeah, and she's all like, you are such a good errand boy. You're going to be my white savior if I fall into this water, and he's all like, whatever. He just like sort of blows her off, and she asks him about, saying that, I heard you were there when my brother died. Did he fight to the end? He's like, yes. She was like, that should be honored. He's all saying, don't try to play this bullshit games with me. You hated him. You hated the motherfucker. She was like, he was my brother, He's like, you still hated him. Marco's such a dick, But that's what you gotta love about the guy, And she's all like, I'm starting to wonder if he was right anyways. You know what I mean? After seeing, like, the terror and all this shit, and those barbarians coming to the village and ravaging it and all that shit. And he's all saying the Khan intends to right everything. And she was like, by what? By how? How, motherfucker? By killing a child? And he's all like, when the people see him and the emperor together, it's going to pretty much reinforce that people actually enjoy the idea of a new dynasty. And then she's like, behold, errand boy. Such, like, God damn, she's not making it easy for him at all. So you see these people from one of the villages, they're going, because they're in a raft. The people have chosen suicide. They drown themselves in the fucking water. And Marco's like, what the fuck? But he stays strong, though. He's all like, keep going, man. Keep going, boatman. Keep going. So, to end my part 1 review, we have pretty much Jingham enjoying, his little, his pre-little bachelor party, I guess you could say, in the horse stables. And you have 100 eyes there saying that this is the perfect place for drunken men to be at, because they tend to say and do a lot of shit that's full of horse manure. So, they're talking, and Jingham's saying, do you have any wise words for me, Sifu? And he's all saying that, no, he said, I taught you all these different techniques, but I couldn't teach you about how to handle your 4 wives. But pretty much he says, just remember, as the heir, whatever, you're going to have even more of a target, because your father keeps on expanding, the empire. And Jingham's like, why do you always tend to make my mood, like, try to, like, dwindle my spirit? Hunter is like, I don't try to dwindle your spirit. I try to improve it. You know what I mean? And then he drinks the whole thing of beer, and he's like, this tastes like dog piss. And then Jingham's like, you drank the whole thing? He's like, indeed, I